Think scaling AI is hard? Think again. With Watson X, you can deploy AI across any environment. Above the clouds, helping pilots navigate flights, and on lots of clouds, helping employees automate tasks. On-prem, so designers can access proprietary data, and on the edge, so remote bank tellers can assist customers. Watson X works anywhere, so you can scale AI everywhere. Learn more at ibm.com/WatsonX. IBM. Let's create.
Ready to ring in the new semester? Pink's got A-plus styles for heading back to campus. Made for early morning classes, midday coffee runs, and late night study sessions. Their latest looks are everything you need to pass with flying colors. We're talking tanks that go with literally every fit, parachute pants with a throwback 90s vibe, plus cute sweaters, activewear, and so much more. Shop now at pink.com or get 15% off in Pink stores with a valid student ID. Exclusions apply.
Want to make a podcast? Spotify's got a platform that lets you make one super easily, distribute it everywhere, and even earn money, all in one place for free. It's called Spotify for Podcasters, and here's how it works. Spotify for Podcasters lets you record and edit your podcasts right from your phone or your computer. So no matter what your setup is like, you can start creating today. Then you can distribute your podcast to Spotify and everywhere else podcasts are heard. Video podcasts are also available on Spotify, and when you want to take conversations with your fans to the next level, Q&As and polls are the best way to get them talking. With Spotify for Podcasters, you can earn money in a variety of ways, including ads and podcast subscriptions. Ever since I discovered Spotify for Podcasters, I feel so supported in the creation and distribution of my show. Spotify for Podcasters hosts masterclasses, office hours, and more to help creators develop and fine-tune their skills. I highly recommend you give it a try. Download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to spotify.com/podcasters to get started. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to 80/20. My name is Lily. I'm your host, and I am so excited for today's episode. I have Allana Blumberg on the podcast, or Lanny B Fit, as most of you might know her on social media. Lanny's social media pages have honestly brought me so much inspiration and just joy when it comes to health and wellness. So I hope that this episode does the same for you guys. We talk about growth on social media, what it's like in the health and wellness social media realm, morning routines, journaling, working at Lululemon, college life, and so much more. If you want to follow Lanny, her socials will be linked in the description, as well as mine too. But this podcast is all about my girl Lanny, so let's go ahead and get into it.
Hi guys, I'm Allana, or you can call me Lanny, and I'm so excited to be here.
Thanks, Lanny, for being here. You are definitely one of my biggest inspirations, I would say, in like the health and wellness, like social media field. We actually talked about this a little bit on your podcast, so I don't want to like totally repeat everything, but but a lot of this stuff is going to cross over for you guys. I will have Lanny's podcast though linked in the description if you want to listen to our episode. On her end, she interviewed me. We had some really good conversation over there. Definitely excited to carry it over to my podcast as well. But Lanny, go ahead and give us your elevator pitch. Like, who are you? What do you do? What's like your thing? What do you love? All that.
I'm Lanny. I'm 21 years old from Toronto, Canada. I grew up here and I go to school here in the heart of the downtown core at Ryerson University. I am a marketing major and I'm minoring in retail management. I work part-time at Lululemon as an educator. So that's like a sales associate in store. And on the side, I guess you could say, I run my Instagram page, which is a health, wellness, and lifestyle brand, as well as an Instagram. I meant as well as a YouTube, a TikTok. And now I have a podcast, which is Morning Ray. I started it very like on a whim, like me and my friend Leah were just like, let's just do it. And a week later we made it. So that is me. And I grew up dancing competitively. So that's how I kind of got started in the fitness and wellness space.
So you currently have, I think, 48,000 on TikTok. Is that correct?
I think I just hit 49.
49,000. Okay. I literally wrote these things yesterday. So she gained a whole nother 1,000 since yesterday. I think you have like 23,000 on Instagram last time we checked.
Yes.
Once again, numbers could have changed, guys. She's blowing up. You got to follow her now before she gets too famous. So how did all of this happen? Like, did you just start posting for fun? Was it always your intention to, have this big of a following? Did you dream of having this big of a following?
When I was younger, I was obsessed with YouTube. We kind of spoke about this a bit on my pod, but I used to watch like Bethany Moda, all those girls, and they kind of raised me in a way. And
For sure.
I really wanted to make a YouTube channel when I was 12, but my parents never really let me. They were really nervous, like with the security and everything. YouTube was still like a very like fresh platform. So they never really let me. So I was kind of just a watcher for a really long time. And then when I started university, I decided to start an Instagram page. It felt like a lot more I could grasp it more. It was like a lot easier. I literally just could post from my phone. I didn't have to edit anything really. But I kind of started an Instagram. I started Lanny Be Fit in my first year of university. So January 2018. Yeah, I think 2018. And I started it because a lot of my friends were starting health and fitness, like healthy food pages. And I kind of just jumped on the bandwagon. And because I had always wanted to kind of be like a blogger or like influencer per se, I kind of took it like full force. Anything I take on in life, like I do it 100%. Like I'm not going to half-ass. Can I cuss on?
Yeah, you can. Yeah. 18 plus, guys.
I'm not.
PG-13, I guess that's what we can say.
Yes. I'm not gonna like half-ass like anything like I'm gonna do it 110%, like put my whole heart into it. And I kind of just stuck with that. And then I kind of just used my Instagram as a way to track my fitness journey and getting into working out outside of dance and starting to eat healthier. And it kind of just like took off on its own. I, of course, always dreamed of having a big following. I am a Leo, which means I love the spotlight. But I never actually thought I would have 20,000 followers on Instagram, or I would have almost 50,000 on TikTok. Like I never pictured myself like actually having it. Like I never knew what it would feel like or what it would be like to be able to reach that amount of people and be able to impact that many people. So I definitely started it for fun. I'm going on a bit of a tangent here, but no, I did not expect it to get to where it is today.
So what's your favorite part then about having the audience that you have? Because you mentioned that, you never thought that you'd get this. Like what's your favorite part? What's your favorite part of all this?
I have two things. So I've been in an art school. Well, now I'm not anymore, but I was in an arts program from grade 6 to grade 12. So I've always had a very creative mindset, but I've also have like a very like logical business mindset. So I love how having this in like this platform gives me the outlet to be creative and have fun editing and taking photos and just being like very creative and independent and being able to express myself. I love that side of it, but I also love being able to impact so many people's lives. And the messages I receive from, I like to call them my community, all the heartfelt messages of how I've impacted their lives, how especially during like these times, like when people started using my journal prompts and they've said like it's really helped their mental health and it's really helped they've started waking up early because they see me wake up early, or they've tried out my morning routine and they loved it and it's changed their life. Like that is so fulfilling to me. And it's like a feeling of gratitude that I never would have thought I would have, because like you have like your friends and your family like thank you for things, but it's like a completely different feeling and I guess sensation having a complete stranger like across the world reaching out to you and appreciating the things that you're doing.
It really makes the world just feel smaller, like you just have these, like you said, complete strangers that you get to hang out with every day. It's crazy. So that being said, do you see yourself doing this for a long time? Do you have any like, short-term, long-term goals in the terms of like your social media platforms?
I definitely do see myself doing this long term. I actually have a goal to be able to work for myself. I've always felt very entrepreneurial and have wanted to work for myself. And I've always been very self-driven, self-disciplined, self-motivated. So I definitely see this going the long haul, whether it be a side hustle or being my full-time career. I really do see myself doing this for as long as possible, or at least like using this platform to expand into my own business and start that, whatever that venture may be. But I would definitely love to one day be able to reach thousands or millions of people and to, I guess, be financially stable by working through myself and being able to impact lives in a positive way.
I think that's amazing. Do you have a favorite platform or like a favorite type of content that you like to post?
I feel like Instagram is definitely my baby. Like that's where I started. But I have to say, like, I know a year ago, like I was very anti TikTok, but I love it. And I love how chill it is. I love all the different types of content on there, how you can just do it all in the app, and how the community on there is so much more accepting and positive and uplifting. Like I'll post the same TikTok on my Instagram reels, and sometimes on Instagram I feel like I get a lot of negative criticism, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like I'm all for being criticized or like learning.
When it's
Um
constructive. When it's
yeah,
constructive.
when it's
You don't
constructive.
have
If
to
it's
take, you
mean,
don't have to
like
take
go
the hate.
away.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But like I feel like TikTok is just like a different place. People are able to kind of understand and connect and accept you from all different walks of life, and I think that's such like a unique place in social media, because I find that like social media can be very highlight reels, and you have to be perfect and you have to have like everything perfect, and TikTok just isn't about that, at least like the part of TikTok I'm in. So I definitely have a lot of fun on there.
I think that's really interesting that you said that because I totally agree that Instagram can be, it's a great platform, but it can be so highlight reel-esque. And we talked about this a little bit on your podcast, but it's kind of like people always try to post to like show off. They only show the best parts. And I would agree. Like, I mean, I'm not on TikTok anymore and I watch your TikToks on Instagram. But yeah, I think that TikTok is just a very unique platform in itself. And that's why it's, you know, blown up. And I think it's easier to like blow up on TikTok versus like Instagram. Although Reels is like a whole nother can of worms. So what's one piece of advice that you would tell someone who's trying to grow their social media audience?
I think you have to find what your why is, and your why can't be to be famous. It needs to be something more deeper and meaningful than that. And that is what's going to motivate you to keep going and keep creating content and connecting with your audience, whether it be 5 followers or 5 million. You just have to understand like why you're doing it and what type of content you want to put out. And you may not know that right away. I still sometimes get lost or get in ruts about like what type of content I want to put out, what I want my brand to be about. But it's just about that consistency and being like authentic and just being yourself, because being uniquely you is your unique selling point, and that is your competitive advantage, as we would say in marketing. That's what's going to make you stand out among the rest. And if you try to just copy other people, like they already exist. So be you, be unique, be consistent, and find your why, because that's what's going to make it fun and I guess easier, if that's like you want to put a word to it.
For sure. So your why is definitely in the health and wellness space. How did you end up promoting such a positive view of health and wellness?
I think this kind of stemmed from my own health and wellness journey. I grew up, I didn't really eat the healthiest. I would have, and there's nothing wrong with what I ate. I would have like Jane's chicken fingers and Kraft dinner, like mac and cheese and Eggo waffles and ice cream and goldfish and tortellini and pizza. And that was essentially my diet. And then I went away to university and I continued eating that way, but the difference was that I was no longer dancing 13 plus hours a week. I was also now binge drinking and partying and having McDonald's and having a tub of Ben and Jerry's pretty much every night. It was like not okay. And I started to put on the classic freshman 15. In fact, for me, it was freshman 20. And I was feeling really sluggish. And so I wanted to change that. And so I started to educate myself on health and nutrition and trying out different fitness programs. And I kind of started to share that on my Instagram. So the first fitness program I did was BBG by Kayla Venus. And that's kind of where my brand stemmed from. But I definitely did fall into diet culture as much as I tried not to. I did fall trapped to it. And coming out of it is where I started to discover my voice for body positivity and intuitive eating and a healthy and positive outlook on health and nutrition and wellness, and that it's not a one size fits all and it's not a quick fix. Going through that journey myself and being vulnerable and sharing that is kind of where that starts to stem from, and reading books on intuitive eating and wanting to share that with others. I think that's where I started to find my voice and realize what perspective I wanted to take in the health and wellness industry. And that's where I became very passionate about it.
So, to someone who is in the deep, dark hole of diet culture right now, and, basically like trying all these crash diets, like what would you say to them? Just, you can kind of see in hindsight, what would you turn around and say to them?
I would say that there's those diets, they're stupid. You're just going to be in this constant cycle of yo-yo dieting. You're going to be super restrictive and eating quote unquote perfect. And then you're going to just fall out of it again because it's consuming your mind too much and it's causing too much stress on your body and your mind. And do you really want to live your life like that? Like, do you want to be constantly so consumed by how much you weigh and what you're putting in your mouth and whether food is good or bad or whether food is considered clean? Like, the only food that should be considered clean is like freshly washed vegetables, like, or that there's no dirt on your chocolate cookie. Like, there's no such thing as dirty food. And like, I know that it like may seem like all these diet fads are like where it's at, but it's not. And there's so much more to life than worrying about having the perfect diet and looking the perfect way. Like, no one's going to remember you because Allana was so hot. She had the perfect body. Like, no, they're going to remember you. Like, I know, like, that was really conceited, but
No,
whatever.
but I totally agree with you. And that's why I laugh, because I mean, that's not like when I meet someone, I don't worry about if, they ate clean yesterday, but
Yeah.
that's, when you get in your own head, that's what matters, quote.
And like, when you think of your friend, like, you think, oh, like, she's so nice. I love how smart she is and how driven she is and how funny she is. Like, you're not thinking about, oh, I like her because her hair is like perfectly styled and her bikini looks really nice on her and she gets like 1,000 likes on Instagram. Like, no. That's what I would probably say.
I love that. Thank you. That's such a big message that everybody needs to hear. So you touched on a little bit about intuitive eating. To someone who's never heard of that term before, once again, maybe they're in the deep dark hole of diet culture, need to kind of break free from that. Explain a little bit of how you perceive, your eating habits now.
Intuitive eating is essentially like, think back to when you were 4 or 5 years old or younger and you were hungry and you felt like a cookie. So you just had the cookie, or you felt like pasta. So you just had the pasta. You asked your mom and dad, whoever your parents, to make you pasta for dinner or lunch. And you kind of just ate when you were hungry, you ate what you were craving, and you moved on with your day. That is essentially like the basis of intuitive eating. It is not having any food rules or guidelines that restrict you in any sort of way. There's no food eating times. There's no food eating periods. There's no good or bad foods. It's just truly listening to what your body wants and needs in that exact moment on that exact day. So no day is going to look exactly the same. Some days you may need more food. Some days you may need less food. Some days you may be thirstier. Some days you may not be as thirsty. But it's just finding that like inner message of like what you want and what you don't, and not letting the rules and words of diet culture and society guide you. This word of intuitive eating kind of, I believe it was started by a dietitian. There is a book called The Intuitive Eating Book, which kind of goes more deeply into it, but it's a method of eating to help those who have struggled from dieting and diet culture and yo-yo dieting, to really repair the relationship with food and to repair any like food triggers or fear foods, and to get back to that place where they were when they were 4 or 5, or like whenever before you discovered dieting. And this doesn't mean that nutrition is fully thrown out the door. Like, one of the rules, I guess you could say, of intuitive eating is gentle nutrition. So at first, when you start intuitive eating, especially if you've been in a cycle of restrict and dieting, you may find like you're binging or overeating on cookies and sweets and fast food and all these foods that you may have seen as like unhealthy or not good for you. But eventually your body will start to crave a fruit, a vegetable, a home cooked meal, a salad. And you'll find your way back to like that happy medium, as I like to say, like that happy place where you're able to have on occasion like those fast foods or the things that you deemed as not being the healthiest, but then you also have a good balance of fruits and vegetables and whole grains and healthy fats and proteins in your diet.
I love how you touched on how, we kind of bounce back. Because I find that so true. If I'm on a trip or something, not eating a home cooked meal, not eating as many veggies, I start to be like, wow, I just need a vegetable. Like, I just need some broccoli. It's like, broccoli gets a bad rep when you're little, but you just start to crave a vegetable. I love that you said that, because I think deep down, all of us want to eat the foods that our body needs. An intuitive approach is the best way to do that. So kind of taking a turn a little bit, let's talk about mornings. So you're the queen of mornings, at least on my Instagram feed. And I'm slowly starting to wake up earlier with the help of, your cute little Instagram reels. So take us through what a morning for you looks like. What time do you wake up? Kind of take us through your routine.
I wake up at 6:30 most mornings. And how I did this, I literally just decided one day I wanted to wake up at 6:30, and I went to bed earlier that night. So my alarm goes off around 6:30. I get out of bed because my phone's across the room, so I'm not on it before bed. And then I turn off my alarm. I open my blinds. It's typically still dark out because it is winter right now. So I'll put on my lamp and then I'll make my bed. I always make my bed right away. I'll go brush my teeth, wash my face, then change into my workout clothes. And then I'll go downstairs. Some days I'll make like a lemon water chlorophyll situation. And then I'll go work out in my basement. I'll typically do either like an incline walk. I like to do 12-3-30, which is 12% incline, 3 miles per hour for 30 minutes. Or I'll do like a weight training session. So right now I'm using the Sweat app and I'm doing Power at Home, PWR, by Kelsey Wells. And I really like that program. And so I lift around 3 to 4 days a week. But I was also in a really big Pilates kick before. So I was doing the Pilates class, and then I'll typically have a smoothie or a morning blend, which is just like not really much protein in it. It's not a complete meal. So I would have a second breakfast afterwards, and then I'll shower and make my coffee. And that's my morning.
I love it. So one of the most common questions that my subscribers ask me is, how do you make your coffee? And sometimes my answer isn't good enough for them. So I wanted to ask you how you make your coffee in case they wanted any, new inspiration.
I'll give you what I make at home, and then I'll tell
Perfect.
the listeners my Starbucks order, because
That was going to be my follow-up. You're one step ahead of me. Yeah, go ahead.
So at home, some days I include the coconut oil. Some days I don't. It really depends what I feel like. But right now I'm really into hot coffee. So I'll froth some cashew milk. I like unsweetened or unsweetened vanilla cashew milk. And I'll put that in with a little bit of coconut oil. And this just makes the milk really frothy and creamy. It's kind of like, think about like a full fat, like milk cappuccino. Like that milk is like thick. Like she's frothy and creamy.
He's frothy.
It kind of helps with that.
That's a good tip. I never thought about that. That's really good. I like that.
Yeah.
Put that in my back pocket for later.
So I literally I put like a teaspoon, like not even, like think of like the quarter of a teaspoon measuring spoon. Like that's probably how much I put. You can fully put more, but I just find like that's like the perfect amount. And then I have an espresso, so I'll probably do like a double shot of like espresso from there, and then I'll pour it over top. But the coconut oil not only does it make it super creamy, but especially if you're waking up at 6:30 a.m. and if you have coffee earlier, like you're gonna get that crash, or you may feel like your coffee doesn't like last you as long as you'd like in terms of energy. So by putting the coconut oil in there, which is a healthy fat, it helps like slow down the release of caffeine, so you won't get that crash when you're done your coffee or when like the caffeine like runs out. So
Okay, interesting. I'm gonna try
yeah,
that tomorrow. I'll text
yeah,
you. I'll let you know how it goes. So
it's really
what's your
good.
start what's
And
your Starbucks order?
I'll give my hot order and my cold order in case
Okay,
we have some like iced coffee girls, because I'm definitely an iced
perfect.
coffee girl, but I'm just having a hot coffee moment.
It's too cold for
So
ice.
my too cold. Like here, I don't even know what it is in Fahrenheit. I know how to convert Celsius to Fahrenheit now, thanks to this boy from Hinge that I was talking to.
Like I found ourselves a
I like
mathematician.
to move my location around a bit. But apparently if you multiply by 30 and then add 20, that's how you convert it. But it's
Interesting.
negative like 5 feels like negative 10 in Celsius. So that's like really low Fahrenheit. So like probably like 20s or 30s, maybe.
Trying to see if I can convert. Oh, there we
Maybe
go. Celsius. Okay, yeah. So
negative.
like right here, it's like 30, which would be like 6 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
So
So a
yeah.
lot colder
Okay.
than that.
Okay. Yeah.
um
It's cold in Canada.
She's cold and she's snowy, except it's a really blue sky today, which is nice. But anyways, back to the coffee. So I like to do the honey almond flat white. I know like some Starbuckses are discontinuing it, so you can also just order a flat white, like a blonde flat white with almond milk, and add a honey packet. But I get all like my sweetened drinks a quarter sweet. So with only one pump of whatever syrup they're using, I just find it's like the perfect amount of flavor and sweetness. And then for a cold drink, I like order it away on the app to get it for super cheap, but I'll just like say what it would actually be. So it's just a blonde iced Americano with either I'll do almond, or in this instance, I'll have oat milk and then a pump of toffee nut syrup. And it's really good.
Does your Starbucks do oat milk?
Yes.
What? We literally, I've been saying to my sister for the longest time, I'm like, Starbucks really needs to get with it. You know, they're not doing oat milk. It's 2020. Like, what's wrong with them? Like, everybody's drinking oat milk. And they just haven't brought it down here. I don't know. Lucky you,
Okay,
though.
but
That sounds really
I
good.
know like in the States they were testing it at some locations, because my friend Rachel, who went to Michigan State, she's American. Like she had oat milk at her Starbucks, and I'm pretty sure they have it at the one in LA, or California.
Mhm.
But then they dropped oat milk here like early fall, and we've had it, but it's
Interesting.
not like, you know how like the almond milk, I don't know how, I'm assuming it's the same in the
Mhm.
States, but like the almond milk and like the coconut milk are like Starbucks brand, like it's like in their
Yes.
own thing. Our oat milk isn't Starbucks brand, it's like a Canadian brand, and it's like a
Okay.
barista blend. So
Interesting.
I
Okay.
don't know, but we do have oat milk.
It's probably better there anyway. But yeah, I've like kind of stopped going to Starbucks because I was like, I don't really like their almond milk. Kind of just tastes funny to me. But yeah, I'm waiting for the day, counting down the days. Okay, so let's say that you just went and picked up your coffee. Do you journal in the morning, like with your coffee, or do you journal at night, or do you both? Like, what's your journaling routine?
Oh, I also totally skip this in my morning routine, but I do journal in the morning. Sometimes at night I'll do a mind dump, or if say for some reason I had a really rushed morning before a shift at work, I'll journal at night. But typically in the morning, I either, if I'm motivated enough, will pre-write all my prompts into my journal on like Sunday night. If not, I'll just pull them up from my Instagram, because I post a week's worth of prompts every Monday on my Instagram. And I'll write those in. And usually it's daily intentions, a positive affirmation, and then my prompts usually reflect something that I've been working on in therapy with my therapist. Because I do cognitive behavioral therapy, I do have to, homework that I have to do, because you're changing your mindset and kind of changing the way that you think and process situations that happen to you. That's essentially what cognitive behavioral therapy is. But they're usually around like self-esteem, self-improvement, self-growth, reflection. I'll ask myself questions like, what do I want more of? What do I want less of? How would I feel if I make these changes? How do I picture my life will look? And then I always finish my journaling sessions off with a little manifestation. So I do goal setting. I'm fortunate enough that Lululemon offers goal setting and manifestation workshops to its employees, which is really cool. So I learned how to set goals through there, but I do short-term and long-term goals. For someone who's never really done manifestation or goal setting, this is kind of how I like write out my goals. So you want to write it out as if you already have it. So for example, I am graduated from Ryerson University, and then you want to add like the timeline. So for me, my goal is to be graduated by June 2022. So I would write in my journal, I am graduated from Ryerson University in June 2022. Or you could write, I have X in X date. Or like, I want to move out. So I'm living in my own condo in downtown. I don't know if I want to live in Toronto or LA or Vancouver. So I have all of them by the end of 2022, early 2023. So you want to act as if you already have it. But that's essentially my journal routine. On the weekends, I try not to journal just to switch up my routine a bit. And I'll do mind dumps occasionally, which I literally just write mind dump and then write whatever the heck is on my mind and write that all out. And that helps, especially if I'm very anxious.
So anyone who doesn't follow Allana on Instagram, she has these amazing prompts that she posts. You touched on it a little bit. How do you write out your prompts? Are they prompts that you've used? How did you kind of start off with these prompts? And then what made you want to publish them?
So I actually used to use other people's prompts because I didn't have the confidence in myself to write or guide my own journaling practice. So I've been using a lot of different prompts. I used this girl, Catherine. Her Instagram is at Lifestyle with Kath. And then my friend Sophia Anamato was posting prompts. Or I would like search on Pinterest. So I kind of got like a general idea of like how prompts are structured, what types of things I liked journaling about and reflecting on. And so that's kind of where I got like, I guess like my studying and what prompts are. But now I kind of base them off of like things I talk about in therapy. And a lot of the times my therapist will give me resources or readings to help me with things we're discussing. So she's given me ones on like how to boost your self-esteem, self-confidence, different exercises that like she's given me, and I'll base them off of that. I feel like once you kind of see a bunch of prompts, you're able to generate them on your own and able to prompt those questions of things you want to kind of dive deep into. For example, I wanted to do some reflection on the year. So I thought about like highs and lows, and then kind of geared questions around that. And then I wanted to set intentions for 2021. So like, what do I want out of 2021? How do I want 2021 to look? How do I want it to feel? A lot of like manifestation practices kind of guide the way that I write my prompts.
I'm a true believer that journaling is mental hygiene. I mean, just like you brush your teeth in the morning, you write in your journal. If you guys have never picked up a journal in your life, go grab a piece of printer paper and check out Allana's Instagram, because she just throws all these amazing prompts at you. I use them. I've used them in my morning routine. Sometimes I, throw in my own little ones, but truly it's been such a great way, because I've done like morning pages or tried, just writing like setting a timer and just kind of mind dumping. And that doesn't always work because you don't always know what to say. So journal prompts are definitely the way to go, in my opinion. Spinning a little bit, you touched on briefly about Lululemon. So you're a Lululemon educator. What exactly does that mean for people who aren't familiar with Lululemon?
Educator is essentially the title that they give to their sales associates. However, at Lulu, we're taught that the emphasis and like what our purpose is isn't to necessarily sell. Like, yes, at the end of the day, Lululemon is a business and they want us to sell their clothes, their items, but our goal as an employee in store is to educate any guests, we call our customers guests, on the product and the technical education behind why the product was made with this certain material and how it fits a certain way and the cut of the fabric and all that. So I'm the person that you see on the floor at the store. If you have a question about a product or need help finding a product, that's me. If you need someone to run to the back, that's me. It's essentially a sales associate.
What's your favorite part about working for Lulu?
I would definitely say the corporate culture. I would have to say Lululemon is by far one of the best companies I have ever worked for. Being there, as much as sometimes the floor can be crazy and guests cannot always be the nicest, or I'm running around like a mad woman grabbing product for people in the store or doing other things, it's honestly like therapy. And whenever we've gone into lockdown now this year, like it's been twice, I've like been upset that I haven't been able to work as much because it literally calms me. I love how supportive my team is. I feel that they're really good, positive people to be around and have helped shape me into who I've become this year. And this past year, I've only been working there for a year and 2 or 3 months now. I just love the corporate culture. I love my staff, like my managers. I love my team. And I can see myself working for Lululemon in the long run. Like I would love to work for their headquarters.
My sister and I always say that Lululemon's customer service is unmatched. Like you guys just go above and beyond. There's not, I mean, I own a lot of Lulu, and there was one time I had like a little hole in the seam and I took it back and the girl was like, "Oh, we could totally switch this out for you." Like special ordered the leggings for me. Like it was just such an amazing experience. So I'm so glad to hear that it's also amazing for you working for the company. That's, it's so cool to see that. What was the first piece of Lulu that you ever owned? I think it's interesting to hear what people's first Lulu was.
I think if I'm remembering, so I grew up dancing competitively. So I've been wearing Lululemon since I was 8 as like kind of a spoiled brat in that sense. But I would have to say I think they were called like boogie shorts. They don't exist anymore. I mean, they're in my closet, but they don't exist in the store. They were these little like mid-rise, low-rise when those were a thing, booty shorts. Made with like the OG Lululemon material. It's called Luon. But yeah, I think it was those shorts. And then I think maybe I got a pair of leggings after that, or a sports bra. It was probably the Flow Y bra. But I definitely think the shorts were my first Lulu item.
Okay, mine were like these little cropped kind of like, yeah, like low rise, like when those were cool leggings. And for someone who has not yet owned a piece of Lululemon, I get a lot of questions like, "What's your favorite piece?" Or a lot of people say, "Oh, it's a ton of money for just a pair of leggings. I can never justify that." And I'm like, no. Then you've never even like felt them. You never put them on. They're going to last you 10 years because it's such a quality product. Like you're paying for the quality. If someone's never done that before, they don't know where to start, what would you recommend to be a good first piece?
I would say the Wonder Train leggings. They are new. They came out in February. I'm going to go full educator on you.
Please
do. They're made with Everlux. So Everlux fabric is a cross between Nulu, which is that buttery soft fabric that Aligns come in. Those are like the tights that everyone doesn't shut up about.
Right.
And Luxtreme, which is what the Wonder Unders, which is like the OG classic Lululemon tight is made out of. So what's so beautiful about Everlux is that you get like that naked sensation, that super soft, buttery feeling on your legs, but you have a bit more compression on your stomach. Aligns don't have any compression. So what's nice is that the Wonder Trains add a bit of compression, but it's not too tight. They're great for every day. They're great for your high intensity workouts, your spin workouts. They're our fastest drying fabric and tight. So you can do your spin class, be super sweaty, and walk not even 5 minutes to Starbucks afterwards, and they'll be completely dry. I definitely think those are my favorite tights. They're not going to pill. They're not going to fall down. They're the perfect like in between like a shiny and matte fabric. And I just love them. So definitely the Wonder Trains, and I wear 25 inch length. They don't come in like the technical like 28 inch, which is like full length. But if you're around like 5'5", 5'6", they're shorter, they will be full length on you.
I would totally agree because I just got my first pair of trains probably like 3 months ago, and they're the only ones that I wear. I have like this gray and white pattern, and then I also have the black ones, and I literally alternate them like every other day because they're the best
Yeah.
leggings. Love them. I always like to end my show with a little quote or like one final thought. Do you have like a last little like nugget of inspiration that you want to leave the listeners with?
A quote I live by is those who mind don't matter and those who matter don't mind. I have no idea who said this. I have it on a ring.
Dr. Seuss. That's one of my favorites too.
Really?
Dr. Seuss. Yeah. Yeah. I'm
Good
like
to
a walking
know.
I'm like a walking Pinterest board.
But yeah, that is definitely like my quote. I got it on this ring from Israel in grade 12, and it's just stuck with me since. And it truly like has been like my guide for life, especially like when it comes to posting on social media. It's so easy to be like consumed by what other people think, but just remember that like the people that like genuinely like care about you and want to be involved in your life aren't going to mind like whatever like you post, whether you think it's out there or like things you do, obviously like morals and mind and everything. But the people that are going to stick are the ones that don't mind, and the ones that do mind like really don't matter, and you don't want them in your life. They're not going to like bring joy to you, and you should do what makes you happy, and the people that want to see you happy are going to stay.
So where can the listeners find you online?
I have 1,000,001 different handles. I don't know why I did this to myself.
I'll link
but
them all. So don't worry, they're in the description. But tell us anyway in case somebody's driving or they can't look at their phone.
Yes. So you can find me on Instagram. It's Lani B Fit. That's LANI, the letter B, Fit, FIT. Or on TikTok, Allana Ray, ALLANARAE. Or on YouTube at Allana Blumberg. Bloomberg is spelled BLUMBERG. And my podcast, which I always forget to plug, is Morning Ray, Ray spelled as in RAE. And it's on everywhere where you can listen to podcasts.
Thank you, Lani, so much for being on my podcast. You guys definitely need to go check out her podcast, like she just mentioned, called Morning Ray. And we talk a lot there about similar stuff, but it's kind of different. It's a lot of fun. I had so much fun recording with you today. Thank you so much for initiating this. I had the best time. Signing off, we will talk to you guys, or I'll talk to you guys next week. Bye.
Bye, guys.